I thought it was just another HOA warning, until I realized my neighbor was using the rules as a weapon.
Things no one else was being cited for. That's when I found out the truth, Rare. He wasn't enforcing the rules, he was rewriting them. Meetings were held without notice. He wasn't enforcing the rules, he was rewriting them. Meetings were held without notice. Fines appeared overnight, and suddenly, I was labeled the problem homeowner. But what he didn't know was this. I started documenting everything. Because the moment I uncovered what he'd been hiding,
you are in violation of Ordinance 3B. This entire street is a disgrace.
I have had enough of your power trips. You are overstepping your authority, period.
I moved into the neighborhood thinking I had finally found peace. It wasn't a fancy place, just clean streets, quiet evenings, neighbors who waved but didn't pry. The HOA paperwork was thick, pages and pages of rules, but nothing seemed extreme. Trim your lawn. Don't leave trash cans out too long. No loud parties past 10. Normal stuff. At least that's what I thought. For the first 6 months, nothing happened. No warnings. No fines. No drama. Then my neighbor moved in. His name was Mark. He lived directly across from me. Same house layout. Same size yard. Same driveway length. At first, he seemed friendly. Too friendly. He asked questions that felt slightly off. How often do you mow? Do you know the HOA president personally? Have you ever been fined before? I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. 2 weeks later, I received my first notice. Violation. Lawn height exceeds HOA standards. I stood outside with a ruler, measured it myself. It was fine. I ignored it. Then came the second notice. Violation. Trash receptacle visible from street. It had been out for less than 2 hours. Still, I paid the warning fee. I didn't want trouble. Then the third notice arrived. This time, it wasn't even a warning. It was a fine and a threat. Continued non-compliance may result in further action. That's when I started paying attention. I looked around the street. Other lawns were worse than mine. Trash cans stayed out overnight. Cars parked where they shouldn't be. No notices. No fines. Just me. I went to the HOA office. They told me something strange. These violations were personally submitted by another homeowner. That was my first red flag. HOA rules were supposed to be enforced equally, not selectively. I asked who submitted them. They refused to say. But I already knew. That night, I caught Mark taking photos of my house. Not discreetly, not secretly. He stood on the sidewalk. Phone out. Zooming in. I walked outside. He didn't even flinch. Just documenting, he said, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That's when I realized something important. This wasn't about rules. This was personal. Over the next month, the violations increased. Some didn't even make sense. Fence paint inconsistent with community aesthetic. Outdoor furniture unapproved color. Mailbox placement questionable. Each one came with a fine. Each one cited a subsection of the HOA handbook. Sections I had never noticed before. Tiny clauses. Buried language. Open to interpretation. And Mark knew them all. At the next HOA meeting, I finally understood why. Mark wasn't just a neighbor. He was on the HOA compliance committee. Not the board, but close enough. He sat near the front, spoke often, corrected people. When I raised my hand to question the fines, he smiled again. These rules exist for a reason, he said calmly. To protect property values. The room nodded. I felt alone. After the meeting, I confronted him outside. I asked him directly, "Why are you targeting me?" He leaned closer, lowered his voice. "You don't fit the image of this neighborhood," he said, "and the rules give me leverage." That word stayed with me. Leverage. That night, I couldn't sleep. I reread the HOA handbook. Every page, every footnote. That's when I noticed something strange. Some of the rules he was citing had been amended recently. Very recently. Dates didn't line up. The formatting was inconsistent. Almost like someone had quietly changed them. I checked the HOA website. Same thing. Rules that weren't there when I moved in now suddenly existed. That's when I made a decision. If Mark wanted to play by the rules, I would learn them better than he ever did. And I would document everything. I stopped reacting. That was my first move. No angry emails. No confrontations. No emotional responses. Just silence. Mark didn't like that. The violations kept coming. But something changed. They became more aggressive. Fines doubled. Deadlines shortened. Language grew harsher. That told me everything. He wanted a reaction. Instead, I started collecting evidence. I saved every notice, screenshotted every email, recorded dates and times. I installed a small security camera. Nothing invasive, just enough to see my front yard. Within a week, I caught him again, standing across the street, taking photos, sometimes late at night. Always my house. I compared his submissions to the actual HOA bylaws. And that's when I found it. A mismatch. Several violations cited rules that didn't exist in the official county-filed HOA documents. That meant one thing. Someone altered the online version. Illegally. I contacted the county records office, requested archived HOA filings. They sent me everything. Stamped. Dated. Official. The truth was clear. Mark had been enforcing phantom rules. Rules that had never been approved by the board. Never voted on by homeowners. Never legally adopted. I brought this to the HOA president. She brushed me off. These matters are handled internally, she said. That's when I realized something worse. This wasn't just Mark. This was complicity. I attended more meetings. Listened quietly. Watched carefully. Mark dominated discussions. Corrected board members. Spoke with authority he didn't have. People deferred to him. Out of fear or ignorance. I started talking to other neighbors privately. Slowly. Carefully. One by one, stories came out. He'd fined a retired couple for decorations. Threatened a single mother over parking. Pressured renters into leaving. Always citing rules. Always escalating. Always confident no one would challenge him. Until now, I compiled everything into a folder. Photos, videos, emails, official documents. Then I did something Mark never expected. I hired a lawyer. Not an aggressive one. A calm one. Someone who understood HOA law. She reviewed everything and smiled. This is bad, she said. For them. We sent a formal letter. Not accusing. Just requesting clarification. Demanding proof of rule amendments. Meeting minutes. Voting records. The HOA panicked. Meetings were suddenly rescheduled. Documents delayed. Emails ignored. Mark confronted me again. You're making a mistake, he said. You'll regret this. I didn't argue. I just said one thing. Everything you've done is documented. His smile disappeared. For the first time, he looked nervous. The HOA called an emergency meeting. Attendance was higher than I'd ever seen. People sensed something was wrong. I sat quietly. Let them talk. Mark spoke first. Long explanation. Carefully chosen words. He claimed misunderstandings. Clerical errors. Good intentions. Then my lawyer stood. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't accuse. She presented facts. Side-by-side documents. Official filings. Edited online rules. Dates didn't match. Signatures missing. Approvals absent. The room went silent. One board member asked Mark directly, "Did you change the rules?" He hesitated. That pause said everything. Another neighbor stood. Then another. Stories poured out. Harassment. Selective enforcement. Threats. The president tried to regain control, but it was over. The HOA's attorney spoke next. Short sentence. We have a serious legal exposure. Mark left the room. Didn't say a word. Within a week, fines were suspended. Rules reverted. An external audit announced. Mark resigned from the committee. Quietly. No announcement. Just gone. But justice wasn't finished. The audit uncovered more. Unauthorized rule changes. Improper fines. Misuse of authority. The HOA settled. Refunded fines. Paid legal fees. Rewrote enforcement procedures. Mark sold his house 3 months later. Didn't say goodbye. People asked if it felt good. Winning. Exposing him. Honestly, it felt calm. Like balance returning. The neighborhood changed. Meetings became quieter. Rules clearer. Enforcement fair. Neighbors smiled again. As for me, I stayed. I planted new grass. Painted the fence. Not because of rules, but because it was mine. Justice didn't come loudly. It came through patience, documentation, and refusing to be bullied. And that's the real lesson. Power only works when no one questions it. And this time, someone did.